Hey everybody, we are teaching Vermillion, and we're going to look today at one of the coolest features, multiplayer. That's right, you can actually paint in Vermillion with other people. Up to 4 other painters in the studio with you, live online. Now there are a bunch of options. For example, whether or not you want to allow voice chat. If you would prefer a silent room listening to your own music, that's an option. It has options for allowing people to join randomly from the public or to keep your studio private, so there's a secret number and only the friends who know that number are allowed to join. You could also ban people, block people if you need to. Unfortunately, there are some people on the internet who don't always play nice with others, so Vermillion does give you some controls to help protect you and your studio. Now, the nice thing is this multiplayer allows you to do things including online classes and actually paint with other people at the same time. You can even give people permission to paint on the same canvas. So we're going to switch to headset view so we can see some of these controls and how you use them, and hopefully even gets a chance to paint some with some other people. So hopefully we'll see you online, but for now we're going to switch to headset view and get the controls for Vermillion in multiplayer. So here we are in the studio, our normal studio by ourselves. If we were to move around, you can see we have a good chunk of space to move around in. We have our lovely tools as we leave them. And here's our controls. Now, multiplayer. This is the multiplayer control panel as of February 2023. There's been a lot of development in the multiplayer lately, so there's just as good of a chance that it will have changed by the time I finished making this video. But for now, these are the main controls. In multiplayer, session controls control the studio itself. Avatar controls control the appearance and the way people will see you. You can see it's synced to your movements. Block or unblock will be a list of people who you would rather not play with, who you don't want to have in your studio. Hopefully you won't have very many people on this list. With avatars, if you're using the Oculus system, it'll allow you to customize your avatar. If you're using the Steam system, it will come up with random avatars for you for the moment. Again, this is a feature they hope to be working on. Show your avatar in first person simply adds your own hands and arms to the camera. So controlling your system, avatars, and your block list. The session is the room itself. If I choose start a new session, it's going to create a new studio based on my settings. It will give me a new number just for this particular session. I can then tell people that number and have them join me. If I know a studio is already up and running, some friend gave me their number, I could enter their number here using the number pad, including a nice backspace. If I just want to see who's out there publicly, this will look to see if there is an open public studio and have you join automatically, bearing in mind you can only have up to 4 people in a studio. Sometimes you don't want to be just anybody's studio. The filters let you choose what kind of studio you want. Do you want the silent, only paint studio with other people? Or do you want to allow people to talk to you? When you create your own studio, that's where you can determine, do you want them to talk or not? Silent, voice allowed. Do you want to be a private or a public session? This is that number I can now tell all my friends. If I have this to public, I can now just sit back and start painting and see if anyone joins me. Now that I'm online in a multiplayer, if I go to move, you can see my teleport zone is much smaller than it is in the normal player single studio. Since we're going to be having more people joining us, we got to control how much room each person's got to move around. I can still move my easel and tools around as much as I want, but I just have a smaller teleport range when working on my own canvas. I'm going to drop out for the moment, disconnect, close this studio, so I can go back to normal view and we'll finish this up and see if we can get a montage with a bunch of other people. So you can see how multiplayer gives you a lot of options to control your studio, but then it allows you to paint with other people and do you want, express yourself, teach each other, that type of thing. It's a great way to play with your headset and meet other people and enjoy the experience of painting. When you paint with other people, you get different perspectives on each other's work and can give each other tips. Ideally, you may even make friends and can keep communicating over the Discord channel and set up times to continue painting into the future. That is multiplayer in Vermillion. Let me know if you have questions below. I'm actually going to dive back into multiplayer and we'll see if we can make a nice little multiplayer montage to round this out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the studio.